It changed the way I view fantasy series, and it is a heist book. Excuse me. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, and don't forget to turn on your post notifications so that you never miss any of my new uploads. I upload every week, once a week, and I even do live streams, so don't forget, hit the notification button and you'll be notified of when all these things happen. So in today's video, I'm going to go over my top 5 favorite books of all time. Like, yes, I mean of all time. These 5 books are just so near and dear to my heart. I feel like they've shaped my life. They've changed the way I thought about myself, about my friendships, about the world, about the literature, and all of these books are just, they're so good. They're so good. So without further ado, let's get right into the first book. So this first book is one that I know many of you, if you pay any attention at all to me, to my live streams, to my friends' live streams, you know I talk about it all the time. It is one of my favorites, and if anybody ever asked me to recommend them my favorite fantasy series, this would be it. You guys already know what book this is. Of course, it is the one and only Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. People have mixed feelings about Six of Crows, and I understand why, but honestly, it's like the people either love it or they hate it, or they're kind of in the middle and they don't care either way. But I loved Six of Crows. This duology literally changed the way that I read books. It changed the way I view fantasy series, and it is a heist book. Excuse me. One of the best tropes to have are heists. We follow Kaz, who is a criminal, who basically wants to pull off a heist to become super stinking filthy rich. Unfortunately, he can't do it by himself, so he has to get people to help him. And the bottom line is, they don't all get along, but they all have to work together to pull off this heist. And when I tell you Six of Crows is a ride, it is a ride that you don't want to miss. Obviously, I am a Kaz stan. We love Kaz around here. Kaz is the kind of character that you read about and you just can't help but love because there's so many layers to him. He's so honest, so transparent. The way that his character was written was so amazing, and I love Kaz. I mean, he's honestly so funny. I think that he's one of the best characters in this duology, if not the best. And of course, this duology will be kind of tied into the new Shadow and Bone TV series on Netflix coming soon. I'm so stoked for this. I don't know how it's gonna go, but so far the trailers for Shadow and Bone have been so amazing. Hopefully Netflix does it justice, but I'm looking forward to seeing Kaz Brecker on TV. So this next book, I have cried over this book. I have recommended this book, and rightfully so, because it is just that good. People have asked me, what kind of book would you recommend for someone who wants to read a YA thriller or a YA mystery that's hard-hitting, that will make you feel a lot of things? And I would always say Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. This book was stellar. I read it quite some time ago last year, and it was so brilliant. This book follows Claudia, who is a young, I think she's 12, and her best friend Monday has gone missing. We're simply following the events of Claudia looking for Monday, and not only was Claudia unaware of what was happening in this story, she was constantly looking for answers, but so were we, and as a reader, we didn't know what was going to happen next, just like Claudia. And I did enjoy that aspect of this book. Also, Claudia is definitely an unreliable narrator. There were so many things happening in the story that we thought was true that were not true in the end. And another reason why I love this book is the fact that this story, although it is fiction, it is someone's reality. And I talked about that before in a video that I posted. Monday and her story and what happens to her and the whole truth behind her disappearance is such a reality for so many kids, and it's the fact that Tiffany stepped out and wrote a story this way. I appreciate that so much. It was so beautifully written, and I loved the way that she wrote Claudia, because we get to see this side of her where she's confused, she's lost, but her voice sounds young because she is young. And there are certain things that Tiffany does in this story that just elevate this book even more. You have to kind of dissect the ending, because some people feel like it's not that great of an ending. Some people are left confused and unsure, but you have to step back and think, what does this ending mean when it comes to reality? What is this ending saying about the reality of missing children? So this next book is one that obviously I fell in love with it. I grew up with these characters, well, not these specific ones, but I grew up with a few of the characters from this world. All the characters from these books are all in my heart because they've all meant something to me, and this particular trilogy was one that took me forever to read, by the way. But I loved it, and it was so amazing. And to avoid spoilers, I'm going to reference the first book because it talks about the entire premise of, you know, how these events get started. So I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. So the book that I'm referring to is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. Obviously, number one, the cover is beautiful. It is also behind me, but I'm not pulling my books out today because I don't feel like holding them up right now. Anyway, obviously Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne are everything, okay? They're everything. We stand them. So this book, for those of you who do not know what this story is about, this story starts off 5 years after the events from City of Heavenly Fire, which was from the Mortal Instruments. It's the last book in that series. And we're following Emma. She's now a teenager. I think she's 17 in this book, or 16. We watch Emma basically set out to get revenge and to find answers as to what happened to her parents. All the while, we get to watch Julian and Emma and their friendship / relationship just go through so much. And it's the way that Emma is so headstrong that I love her so much. I think she's my favorite Shadowhunter character because Emma as a child was always just ready to go fight, ready to be front and center, and she was ready to just do what needed to be done. And it doesn't change when she gets older. She's still headstrong. She's still ready to be on the front lines, and I appreciate the way that she's written. Emma is just so, I don't curse, but she's so bad A. Like, Emma is just everything. So if you haven't read it yet, you definitely should. I know people have talked about like me and my history with Cassandra Clare books and how they're not that great, and it hadn't been great for a while, but this series, The Dark Artifices, everything. So this next book is one that a lot of you guys have started reading recently, and it's a YA thriller. It is so freaking good, and I read these books so fast I couldn't help myself. I think I read the first one like one day, I had a second one on hand, and the third one I read like the very next day or a few days later. Either way, these books take no time to read, and they're super fast paced, and just literally, I tell you, these books gave me the creeps for a while. Like, I never knew a YA thriller could be so gosh darn scary. And that book is The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson. And again, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to do any spoilers, but this book follows Stevie, who is trying to uncover this murder that's happened, and she knows who truly Devious finally is. And so at this school that she attends, murders are occurring, people are dying, and they end up evacuating the school, and so the parents are concerned, and so Stevie, she stays behind to play detective, and she wants to figure out who his murderer is, what's going on, and she wants to solve it all. And it's the way that Maureen Johnson is like a great storyteller. I was sucked into this story right off the jump. It's really hard not to be sucked into a book when the author does such a great job of making you feel worried and kind of afraid, kind of fearful. I was so freaked out and so nervous during this book. So this last, but certainly not least book is Bray Bear by Jordan E. Fueko. Where do I even start? Like, I'm already sitting here remembering the events of this book and how amazing this timeline was written. I mean, this YA fantasy was just so good and super underhyped. It's not talked about that much on Booktube, and it should be because it's really just that good. So this book follows a girl named Terasai who has always wanted to belong to a family. Unfortunately, she didn't have parents, she didn't have family members, and so she ends up being taken in by this woman called the Lady. So the Lady actually has plans set for Terasai, and that plan is basically to send Terasai to Aritzar, which is the capital of the place that they live in, and to compete against these other kids to become one of the chosen. It's like 11 kids who get chosen by the Crown Prince. And basically, if you get chosen by the Crown Prince to become one of his council of 11, you get to be involved with this thing called the Ray, and it's a bond, and it's super deep, deeper than blood. And Terasai wants that. Terasai wants to feel wanted and wants to feel like she belongs somewhere. And so, of course, she's motivated to become one of these 11 kids. And basically, the Lady wants Terasai to kill the Crown Prince once she's gained his trust. And you all know how much I love scheming. We have a story where this young girl is supposed to come into this place, gain the trust of the prince, and then kill him, even though she doesn't want to. She is given this task, which, by the way, she can't ignore. And she is bound by a magical wish that basically she has to follow through this task that the Lady has given her. And it is just conflict after conflict after conflict. It was so good. It was so amazing. I love this story so much. Terasai, her character was so compelling. And by the way, pew pew, do these books look familiar to you? Do you think I've read any of these books before? When have you guys ever heard me talk about Six of Crows? Tell me right now, have I ever read Six of Crows? I don't know the first thing about Kaz. I just know that from Twitter. I have no clue who Kaz even is. I thought he was a Darkling, so obviously I'm confused. Did you guys notice that there wasn't a single romance on this list? Do you guys really think these are my favorite books? If you don't believe me, please come closer. Closer than that. A little bit closer. Pew pew, April Fool's Day. This is a joke. These are not my favorite books ever. I have never read Six of Crows. Do you really think I read TDA that fast? For those of you who thought I was telling the truth, I'm sorry that you've been April Fooled, you've been bamboozled, led astray, all that good stuff. For those of you who may actually pay attention to my friends and I, this list actually belongs to Christine over at Any Endings. These are her favorite books of all time. So if you want to see my favorite books of all time, head over to Mel's channel at Mel Reads. She has done my favorite books of all time. But if you get this part of the video and you go watch her video, you can go troll, you can go make fun, do all that stuff, but don't let people know it's not her list. You guys can go troll, but don't tell the secret, okay? However, if you got to the end of this video, put a dragon for Jelly Bean. For those of you who know Jelly Bean, that is Christine's spirit dragon, and we want to show him all the love, and Christine all the love too. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It was a fun idea that we came up with. We thought we could just have some fun, joke around with you guys, see if you guys caught on at any point during these videos. This was so much fun. I enjoyed it. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a thumbs up and go watch my friends' videos. It's a good time around here, and I will see y'all in my very next video. Bye.